Hello, Alian. Hi. I just dropped you a video over here. Okay, so this video is especially do for you, and also at the same time, right? Just want to let clarify to you is that I'm doing this video to all my viewers as well, who is actually looking into my property page right now in Instagram. Trying to make sure that they'll be educated and do bear with me lah. It's also looking towards the what I'm doing right now is actually focus more onto family oriented way of planning properties. Yeah, because my heart is actually more towards family side, and I really wanted to make sure they get the right avenues of retirement, and also at the same time, right, to have the freedom and the dignity to retire and age well lah in the future, and also all stage of their lives as well in terms of their property and their family journey as well lah. So anyway, I just share with you this video. Okay, it's about the market, which is where currently right now is the current market right now in Singapore. Okay, so most importantly, right, is to let you know lah, where are we currently right now in Singapore. So just to share with you the market right now. Okay. Okay, so this is the sharing. Okay, so just to share with you currently right now, okay, in Singapore right now, okay, 2025 to 2026, if you can look at this graph, okay, this is the whole of Singapore. The y-axis is the average PSF for the whole of Singapore private properties, okay, as well as for the x-axis over here is the year. So if you can see right now currently it's at 2025, okay, so I'll just put over here for 2026. It has not been done up right now because right it's not the end of 2026 yet. So we will just use 2025 for kind of a reference right now, which is actually quite close to 2026 as well. Okay, so currently right now, right, if you can see, right, we plot the whole Singapore of the private residential property, okay, for resale lah, for particular for resale only, for private residential properties. If you can see right now, right, the situation right now, if you can see, is that now since COVID, which is around 2020, year 2020, the property prices has actually goes up uh, around 44.85% lah from 5 years ago. Okay, so what happened right now, right? We can see, right, is actually the prices of the resale property is actually at high price. I mean, at a peak price lah. We do not have a crystal ball to know whether this price is going to go up or it's going to go down. Okay, but we can see that, right, it's actually keep going up, right? We do not know where, in terms lah, where will be it going to be. But based on 2026 currently right now, the graph currently right now is that the prices is actually stagnating lah. Okay, the reason why it's been stagnating is also because there's a lot of factors in because currently right now the resale price, okay, versus the new development, which is the new condos, are at similar pricing. Okay, so we mean let's say like we take for example, if you give me a 2 million house, okay, 2 million budget, you can actually buy a new condo and resale at the same price. Of course, a lot of people will argue with me that, hey, like 2 million condo, right? It actually can be, like can be. But of course, people also will share like saying that the 2 million condo for a new development is definitely smaller than a resale ma. Okay, but we are talking about the price, it's actually similar. Okay, and also surprisingly, right, because of this situation, okay. So if you can see currently right now, the new developments and the resale price, right, currently right now as of 2025, 2026 is actually similar pricing. Okay, so both are at similar pricing, equal price. So imagine you have a budget of 3 million, you are able to buy a new development and a resale. So in this case, right, which one will you choose? So a lot of people, right, will get to see lah, like actually because of the same price, based on the research that we are doing, people will choose new development because same price ma, getting everything brand new. So it will be a no-brainer lah. They will go for a same price new development. Then that's why, right, you can see right now, right, when the prices of the new development right now, because the same price, everyone keep buying, okay, and resale will be in terms of lesser demand. Okay. And because of lesser demands means that they are unable to push the price up because supply and demand, ma. So lesser buyers, but more sellers. So because of that, the sellers to lower down their expectations if they want to sell their resale. That's why the prices would be lesser lah. So if you go see over here, that's why, right, there will be stagnation. Currently, right now, it's like a inverted V, like keep running around that kind of line lah, which is like it's not going to go up or go down. So it's just like stagnated, we just call it in a way. Okay, so this is the situation that is happening right now lah. Okay. And if you can see currently, right, if you can see another question you might ask me, hey, Victor, Alin, you might ask me, hey, Victor, hey, how come, right, during the COVID time, right, the prices actually goes up, but before that, the prices are not going up at all. All right, why? Okay, there are some certain reasons which I will share later on, but so far you just bear with me with this first lah, okay? So we just move on to with it. So when we share about why, right, the situation, okay, just let me for a while. Okay. So if you share about why, right, ask me why about this, right? Maybe I just share with you the backstory. Okay, before 2013, okay, before 2013, right, the prices of the resale is actually going up. Okay, it's just going up in a way lah, it's at peak. Okay, and during this timing, right, if you are buying a resale, if you are selling a resale, this timing, right? If you sell at this peak, right, you are going to earn, or maybe sell along this area, you're still going to earn lah. Okay, but because, right, we can see, right, before 2013, the prices that's going up at 68.66%, the reason is because there's no actually, like, if let's say you are a buyer at that time, you want to buy a property, you are able to actually borrow more as compared to after 2013. Okay, during that time, people can leverage more in terms of bank loan. So if let's say they have maybe a 5,000 salary, they can actually borrow even more. And that's because of that, as long as they are able to calculate to, let's say they're doing an investment property, as long as they go and buy a property and rent it out and the rent is able to cover the mortgage, cover whatever things, right, they still have a net positive cash flow. Okay, so that's why, right, when the prices for the sellers, they want to go higher in the price in terms of it, right, the buyers are okay with it because it's just loan. Once they loan more, but of course, within 5 or 10 years later, they will sell because they're going to flip, ma. So because of that, they don't mind actually paying more. And because of this situation, the phenomenon is that price go up because everyone can loan more. However, during the 2013, when government introduced total debt servicing ratio, because government have been saying the prices are keep going high in a way. Imagine there is no cooling measure, which is like to stop them for even going for the prices to go higher, like skyrocket, that causes the whole Singapore property market to crash in the future or be overinflated. So they curb with a TDSR called Total Debt Servicing Ratio cooling measure during 2013. So what it happens is that, right, with the same amount of 5,000 salary, the person instead can borrow more loans. Now they are being restricted, okay, to borrow lesser loans. Okay, and because of that, right, government is forcing the buyers to be prudent in terms of buying their next property by restricting their loans. Okay, so by that happens, right, what happened is that because during this time, the buyers who still wants to buy their house, some people want to buy for investment, yes, but some also want to buy for homestay because they want to upsize, they want to right size to from a three-bedder to a four-bedder. So they still, no matter what, they still have to buy. Okay. Or in this case, right, they also, however, they have been hit by the loan amount because their loan amount has been restricted. And because of that, they actually prudently actually buy a house at a lower rate of offer as compared to the initial seller's expectation. So imagine if you are the seller during this 2013, you heard this news of the total debt servicing ratio came in, you are unable to borrow, your buyer is unable to borrow as much as it likes to your expected amount of your selling price. But you yourself also wants to sell it because you want to maybe right size to a bigger house, okay, from a three-bedder to a four-bedder. Your children needs to go for secondary school that's nearby. You have no choice. You have genuine concerns to move soon within 6 months to 1 year. So what happened is that you have to, no choice, based on the situation, you will definitely, instead of 3 million, let's say lah, okay, sorry, maybe you put 2 million, instead of 2 million, they will sell it at, you will have to sell it at maybe 1.8 million just to let go so that you can move on. Yeah. So that is what is happening. And because of this phenomenon, the buyers actually, right, actually, in terms of buying resale, the prices actually goes down because the borrowing power get lesser. All right. And this phenomenon hits from 2013 all the way to before COVID. So by default, resale prices, right, is actually we can consider as stagnating because it's just a mediocre of 2.65% increase. Okay, so this is the next question you're going to ask me. Then in this case, Victor, if I really, if you ask me like, if Victor, in this case, right, what should I buy right now? Because if I'm in this timing, I cannot buy resale if I want to really have some money to increase my family portfolio. What else I can buy? I will share with you later on what else you can buy during this time, right? So actually, there's other things to buy, okay? So I will share with you later on. Okay, so this is the situation lah. So until COVID, when it comes, when there is lack of construction courses, okay, I mean lack of construction workers, construction been delays, and even people still need to move on with their lives. What happened is that because new developments needs to take even longer to build, they only can look into the existing resale market. And because of this situation, no one will be going to wait for new development because instead of 3 years, might take 5 years to build, as has seen in past cases as well. So what happens, right, in this situation, they go into the resale market, and because of that, there's demand, and that's where the price skyrocket. Okay, so that's the situation. So now the question to give us is that for us is that, Alien, if you can see, right, do you see a same trend phenomenon here? Isn't it something that I would like to highlight is that right now for my own take is that I feel that the prices actually goes up for too high for resale. Okay, and we don't know when will it be auto corrected down lah. But I foresee because of the TDSR, total debt service ratio has been done up here. So means that already been done out with a good cooling measure of prudent spending. So whatever cooling measures that comes here, right, is to actually maintain it lah, to make sure that's not going to skyrocket down. So if let's say there's a major TDSR like major cooling measure like this 2013 comes in, I will foresee will be not going to be like a straight away drop that dive deep, but maybe there will be a slight drop, auto correct until here, maybe just like a drop of -5 to -8% for a few years. So that could be a reason also. Yeah, this is what I can foresee lah in the future. Okay, so just to share with you right now is this. So what I'm saying is that currently we're at a risk lah. Okay, so coming back right now, okay, I share some examples about where you are going, you can actually buy during this timing. Okay, let's say in 2013, 2014, what you can buy. Okay, what I would advise like you can buy. Okay, so what we can do, right, is that if you can look at 2014, okay, we look at this area called at Pasir Ris lah and Tampines. Okay, so we look at Coco Palms during that time when it's launched is 2014. Okay, and in East Point Green is at resale lah. Okay, if you have the budget, sorry, if you have a budget of around 1 million, we just round out like 1 million lah. So because East Point Green is 961K $500, Coco Palms is 991,783 lah, but we just round to 1 million. Okay, it's a similar price. If you have a budget of 1 million, okay, you are buying a 3 bedroom during 2014, right? Same pricing, similar pricing. Coco Palms, which is a new development, okay, versus East Point, which is an old development. Which one will you choose? Okay, similar in the same East area lah, okay? So one is at Simei, the other one is Pasir Ris, okay? So the thing, right, is that same price. What happened? What happened is that which one will you choose? What happens is that if there will be a group of people who will choose East Point Green, okay, but there will be a group of people who buy Coco Palms because Coco Palms, they feel that, hey, despite I need to wait to rent and all these things, right? Because they need to rent before, after to wait for the construction to be done, all these things, right? But if you can see, right, if they choose Coco Palms, those who choose Coco Palms actually rise by 30.52% within a few years lah. But for East Point Green, actually during that time, okay, it actually goes down because remember, after the cooling measures, okay, people are just afraid of the resale market. And also because if you're buying resale, you are straight away going to pay the full loan mortgage. So take for example, if the mortgage is around 5,000 full mortgage, right? Resale straight away you have to pay already. But for new development, you are paying by progressive, means that you will take different foundation steps, different stages to pay gradually higher mortgage. So initially could be only just a few $100 for like for the first 6 to 8 months, that kind of thing. And then gradually, right, we're going to 2,000 for the next year. Then, like all these things. So we actually calculated, right, at the end of the TOP period, then you will pay around $5,000, which is, let's say, where as compared to receive East Point Green to pay 5,000 straight all the way for the first few years lah. So we also did a calculation also that if you are buying, let's say, right, buying a new development inclusive of renting and all this, right, is actually more 划算, which is I mean, sorry, in Chinese lah. So in English is more affordable and it's more rationalized and more logical to buy at a new development. Do you know why? So earlier, if you can look over here, right? If you look at the resale, right? A lot of people keep thinking, right? The resale can straight away move in, which is good, yes. But if we go and compare with all other courses, there is also MCST managing cost. There's also interest because you're paying 5,000. If you are putting in a certain amount of interest in, you're going to pay more interest, yeah? So these are things that are unseen costs. And even for renovation, an old house maybe will take 80,000 to really do it well. So renovation is inside as well. And all these unseen costs, right, factor into the profit. So actually buying a resale, right, unless it's really for homestay, no choice, the family really wants to, like if your family really wants to stay there immediately, you have no choice to move on, and due to circumstances, maybe it's very hard to explain, then okay, then we just have to look on that lah. But of course, if you are buying, someone who's buying Simei Green, okay, East Point Green, okay, losing money. If let's say they are going to sell within 5 years or 6 years, right? Let's say it's here, right? The prices is not going to go up, all right, because it's a resale property and it's also in terms of it's an aging property lah. So there are things that have to be very careful. Yeah, the only way to get this price to be better, the most lah, I only can say is that, let's say if they want to buy into East Point Green, let's say it's around 1 million. What we only can do, right, is that we have to have a certain negotiation skill through your agent to actually negotiate the price. Instead of 1 million, maybe can negotiate 30,000 to 50,000 lesser, okay, through negotiation skills to actually bring down the entry price, because we always emphasize the entry price has to be right. Okay, if the entry price is not right, okay, then you will lose out with more profits lah. So currently, right now, is that that's the only way from 1 million to enter into East Point Green, maybe just to negotiate down lesser. But it will still be losing money lah in the long term lah, just to share, as compared to a new development if you are buying at 2014. Okay, so the situation is like this. And if you ask me that, hey, Victor, are you trying to sell in terms of telling me that, hey, always buy new development? Okay, the answer to me in my own philosophy is no. Okay, that's definitely not going to be happening, because it's always look at the cyclical chart of the new development and the resale. Okay, so if we take, for example, yeah, if we look at 2020, okay, let's say 2020, right? During this time, right, if you're asking me what to buy, okay, what to buy, okay, I will just say, right, 2020 during COVID, right, you should actually, the first wave, you should buy resale. If let's say from 2020 to 2021, because the price is going up, you can actually buy resale as an investment, which we happened before. Like one of our clients, we bought Yishun Emerald instead of Water Gardens. During this timing, they earned a decent profit of 300K. Yeah, we have that kind of situation that during that time, 2020, they bought, instead of Water Gardens, they bought into Yishun Sapphire and they earn money around 300K 3 years later. So these are cases that could buy resale. Okay, during 2020 to 2023, you buy resale to 2024 actually lah. Buying resale makes sense. The numbers make sense because the prices for the resale, because it's actually going up, Okay. And then that is where you can actually leverage lah. Okay. But in reverse, currently right now, as I mentioned, right, 2014 this timing and 2025, 2026, the prices currently is actually same. Okay. The resale and the new launch price are same. So it's imagine like that. So when resale and new launch price same, right? No brainer by default, people will buy the new launch, right? So when the new launch actually prices actually goes up to a certain amount of percentage, too high, people will feel, hey, actually new launch shouldn't be buying new development because so expensive I cannot afford. So why not I look into the resale? So when that happens, right, the resale price will go up. Okay, to a point, right, when the new launch seems to be similar prices as the resale, which happened during currently right now, 2025 and 2026 and 2014 and 2015, when the two lines converge, when they become similar, what happened? New launch, raise again. So it's always like this, keep going up. It's always like this, right? So we need to monitor the cycle to buy whether this is a new development to buy as a homestay property or investment property for a family or a resale property for homestay or investment. So this is very important and crucial. Yeah. Okay. So I have other things to share, okay, about to justify what I'm sharing lah. So 2014 Panorama and the Gardens at Bishan is also the same price. So in the end, what happened is that Panorama, which is a new development, during that time actually grew by 22.14% within the first few years. While Gardens at Bishan is the older property, resale, okay, only get 8.95%. Yeah. So this is just to share with you. They are just quite near each other, lah, just letting you know. So we have others areas to share. Hyde Park Residence, Riverbank, and Filmview. We have a lot. So I just want to leave it here because it's going to be very long-winded if let's say it is lah. Okay, anything earlier, you just ask me if you need. Okay, so currently right now, right, the last thing that we want to share, right, is that currently, okay, if we look at, right, the cost calculations, okay, I would like to share with you the cost calculations, okay. So just drop you here, cost calculations over here. Okay, so okay, we look at these cost calculations over here, right? Okay, just now I refer about, resale, there's a lot of hidden costs also, right? I also want to be very fair for new development, right? What are the hidden costs also? So you go and maybe just take a look and you see whether, right, whatever I share right now in this chart that I compile, right, makes sense or not. All right. So for here, right, scenario one, okay, I put two columns here. If you can look at it, Alien. Alien, if you look over here, right, own stay is for resale. Okay. The other scenario, right, is for new development. Just take it as new development. Okay. Investment is new development. Okay. So it's new condo lah. Okay. So imagine it's a 2 million. Imagine it's a 2 million price. Okay. The loan amount is 1.5 million each. So it's same, yeah. Down payments 25% minimum. Okay, it's 500K. Buyer's stamp duty is here 69.6K for each. So this is the total upfront amount. Everything is the same, yeah. Okay. Then also at the same time, right, we can see the monthly mortgage is straight away upfront is $5,544 lah. I just share with you. Okay. So we look over here, what I've compiled over here for the renter side. Okay. Okay, what happened? Is that right? For the growth and the rental side, okay, we look at the projected property growth. Okay, so imagine it's a 4 years, because currently right now it's a 4 year selling stamp duty period in Singapore right now. So 4 year selling stamp duty period means that we have to sell 4 years without any, after 4 years lah, without any penalty. So based on just now we see from the chart and all this, right, we can see, right, when the new launch and the resale prices are similar, new launch price will go up. So based on it, right, we will talk about is around 1% growth, okay, for resale. And then new development, okay, new launch is 6%. So if we go about projected property growth in this scenario currently in 2025 and 2026, okay, and further on the next few years, it's going to be $40,300 around there for this resale property, and for new launch will be 430,000. So these are estimated gross profit. Yeah, so this is their gross profit for new development lah, will definitely be higher than the resale. Okay. So the other way, right, you can see, right, so what we're going to do is that we calculate all the expenses. So we see how much profit we do have. Okay. So buyer's stamp duty we factor in because we need to minus away from the profit, yeah. So 430 minus 69.66, 40,301 minus 69.6. Okay, so all these were the minus. I also calculated all the bank interest inside, yeah, because this is a straight away a immediate mortgage of 5,000 plus. So the bank interest is around over 4 years is around 115K, 115K lah. So for here will be around 39.7K. Okay, so this is for interest because new development is progressive payment. Yeah, just remember it's not going to pay the straight full amount of the 5,000 plus dollars lah. It's going to pay a few $100, then 2,000, then gradually higher and higher. So save out a lot of money, around one third lah or more lah. Okay, one third of as compared to a bank interest. Maintenance fee, right? You need to pay MCSD. We assume for is around $400 for three bedder. Okay, then we assume 7,002 for MCSD maintenance fee because currently right now you build house can be very fast, can be up to 2.5 years or 3 years lah. But in this case, we put 2.5 years to have more maintenance fee to pay lah. So at least be more safer lah. Yeah, just assume the worst scenario. Okay. So your maintenance fee is around 7,200 because $400 times 18 months lah, you will get this amount. Okay, then rental income cash no because we are not renting. Okay, property tax is 14,000 for 4 years. Okay, for new development it's 5,002. If you need to do renovation, we just assume just do a minor one at $50,000 for resale. You need to change the floor, the tiles, and the kitchens lah. We just want to make sure everything is done well. Use a direct contractor. And then for new development, it's just $10,000 because just change lights lah, painting, because everything is already done out with already ma. So it's all new, all brand new. Okay, so when we talk about it, right, we minus away the marketing. Let's say we are supposed to sell it also in the future. Okay, voice data, right? We need to put in the marketing agent price lah, which is the commissions lah. Okay, so total expense, right? We add up all these numbers, it's going to be 300K. Both are 300K, okay, inside. Okay, sorry, I just forgotten about here also. Okay, this 126K rental. Okay, this rental, right, is to rent somewhere else like based on $3,500 a 4 room flat or around there lah for 3 years lah to 4 years lah. Okay, so we include all these things inside as well to make sure. Okay, so these are the expenses. So if we look over here, right, the profits is actually expenses are similar, okay, but how much is the profit? The net profit, right, is for new development is 120K, okay, safe in the most safest way, okay. Then for own stay, right, it's actually 269K. So this is actually like if you sell, right, you are going to lose out $270K lah. Yeah, but for new development, you are getting around 120K, okay, within this period lah. So sharing with you, this is the situation that we have. Okay, so it's going to be 4 years lah. So pardon for me here. This is 4 years. Just put here 4 years. Okay. So just to share with you the situation currently right now, this is the situation. All right, and we are putting it in a very safe mode right now because we don't want to speculate. Like this this profit is going to go higher, more and more lah. These are the most safest way really. And then this is also the most safest one lah. We don't want to speculate other things also. Okay, just to share with you. Okay. So basically, right, currently, right, so it's just like this lah. Okay, I'll just share with you currently it's like this, and I will just leave it to you for here. If you have any questions about your property, for questions for property market, you let me know. Okay, Alien. And thanks for it, and I'll just put a stop here. Anything question you can ask me lah. Thank you.